Yeah, so I got into surfing when I was 11 and my brother-in-law gave me a surfboard for Christmas and just sort of said, here you go, off you go. We used to catch the train down to Cronulla from Gymea and get up at 5 o'clock and get the early train and meet a few of our mates there. We'd sort of catch the 6 o'clock PM train home, so we'd spend 12 hours at the beach. So I grew up with a Christian family and in a Christian home, going to church every Sunday. While I was at church, all I could think about was being in the surf. I was supposed to be taking notes during the sermon and I was just drawing little barrels on the wave, perfect little waves on my piece of paper and drawing stick men getting barreled. I had a sort of a split love between being in the surf and then also loving God part-time as well. So I was dead keen to make my way up the pecking order. And then I thought, actually this is pretty good. So I was doing comps every Saturday, doing different board rider club comps, got sponsors, getting free boards, free clothes, free wetties, and thought, this is pretty cool. I'd love to do this for a job. And then I started falling in love with just surfing big waves because there wasn't many guys out on those days, so we were getting a lot of waves to ourselves by just surfing the bigger waves. And then I just fell in love with surfing big waves and thought, this is what I want to do. I just want to surf big waves. So my first trip to Hawaii was when I was 17 and I just got my license and I went over for 3 months. Finished year 12 after that and then decided to have a year off and just surf. Right, so rather than going to uni, I thought I'll see how many waves I can get in a whole year off, and that was pretty fun. Just started getting photos, surfing the outer reefs, because that was around about the time when the outer reefs in Hawaii were just starting to get explored. Yeah, ended up getting paid per every time my photo got in a magazine. I got paid some money, and then I got paid a wage, and just thought, this is awesome. I'm just getting airfares, boards, wetsuits, stuff, petrol money, surf trips paid for. Just can't get any better, eh? Ken Bradshaw and Mark Fu were kind of the frontier explorers of the outer reefs. They were pretty stoked that there was a couple of young Aussie kids joining them out there. But at that time there was no jet skis out in the lineup. We were paddling out on 10-foot boards just by ourselves, 2, maybe 3 of us, just paddling out to an outer reef which might be a kilometre or so off the coast. And we were pretty fit at the time and thought, this is all right, we can do this. You can't actually die doing this. Your head's not going to hit the reef because it's so deep. So we didn't actually think you could die. And then one season, I think it was like the 94-95 season in Hawaii, 4 of my friends died in 1 year. Guy drowned right next to me, Jim Broach. Me and him were surfing this outer reef and it was really big. And we both went under as a big wave broke right in front of us. Kind of looked at each other, swam underwater. I had a 20 or 30 feet leg rope on. And so I went 30 feet down and the turbulence still hit me and knocked all the wind out of my lungs. Started swallowing my tongue, like I was gasping for air, but I knew I couldn't suck in because I was going to suck a lung full of water. So I just held on, tried to relax as much as I could, like Ken Bradshaw taught me how just to relax underwater. Come up, didn't see my mate, Jim. Here comes another one, went under again, held my breath again, came up, still couldn't see my mate. Got 6 of those on the head and just never saw my mate Jim, just drowned right next to me, just disappeared. And then Mark Fu drowned out at Mavericks in California, and I spoke to Mark just the day before and wished him luck as he caught the swell from Hawaii. The next day the swell arrives in California, so he took off for that. And it wasn't even one of the biggest days there, and yet him and Ken were the fittest, most dedicated big wave surfers at that time, and there he is, he's gone. We went to Mark Fu's funeral in Hawaii at Waimea Bay, and we had a big paddle out for him. He had a lot of people there because he was pretty well respected. A few people that spoke said, you know, everything's okay because Mark's always said that he would be prepared to die doing the thing that he loved, and so he's gone out the way that he wanted to go out. And just at that moment, it just sort of struck me. I just went, no way, I'm not going to die surfing. I'm not prepared to do that. I think you're going to be dead a long time. Just after that, I lost my sponsors because I turned down a surf trip to Peru that I was supposed to go on. I dislocated my shoulder surfing, so I was out of the water for 3 months. I remember just being shattered at all that happening at the one time. Just you know, friends had died, lost my sponsors, no more money, can't surf, and I was just thinking, all right, Rusty, what is it that God's trying to teach you? Maybe I'm getting a kick up the bum here that I need, and I'm not in control. When I started to push surfing into the background for a bit and focused a bit more on serving God, the creator of the waves, rather than the waves themselves, and my own, you know, my own dreams of becoming the best in the world at big wave surfing. God sort of opened up my eyes to see, like, there's so much more to life than just chasing what you're after. God had this plan that because we chase after our own stuff all the time, we're sinful, that's what the Bible calls it. We need God to come down and rescue us. We're not going to reach up to God because we're just like me, just chasing after our own deal all the time. Just as well that God's looked out for me by sending Jesus to take my place by dying for me, to allow me access to God. That's awesome. That's eternal. I'm looking forward to spending hundreds and thousands of years in heaven with God and with Jesus, and being a part of his team. It's a heaps better deal than spending the rest of my life chasing something that may or may not get any better.